Hey everyone, John Henry here, SlingshotFutures.com. Today we're going to go over something really cool that we found out about NinjaTrader 8 that you can do in NinjaTrader to overlap and kind of help alleviate some of the problems that can pop up with the micro markets. So if you're not familiar with the micro markets like the micro S&P, the micro NASDAQ, the MES, etc., one of the big things is that you'll run into situations where the close of the MES may be slightly different than the close of the ES on like a 5-minute chart or any of the candles really. And that can create some inconsistencies that can make it so that moving averages aren't quite right, or at least not quite the way that you want them, or indicators aren't plotting correctly. So we found out something very cool that we can do here. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to add the S&P onto the chart. Now the next thing we're going to do is add the MES 0320 as well, right on top of it. Now, if you don't have a chart template that you can utilize with this, meaning a chart template that uses two markets on it, you're going to run into an error if you try to create it, and it's going to give you a problem. So what you want to do is make sure that you have it set to none. That way there is no chart template selected, so it doesn't give you any problems. From there, what we can do is click OK, and we'll load up our chart. Now, as far as the chart goes, when we're looking at the chart, it's going to start out looking something like this. Your default colors might look a little bit different, but the same thing holds true, right? Now let me get rid of some of these lines on here so they don't bother us. Let's show global drawing objects and show global drawing objects. We'll get all those turned off. And now what we want to do is we want to take these and select one of them, doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to take the MES on the bottom and I'm going to select it by clicking on it. And you'll know that you selected it by seeing those little bubbles all over the place. And then I'm going to drag it onto my top and drop it. Right, now they're stacked up on top of one another in that we have the S&P as the primary chart, right, but we have the MES in the background. And you can see those inconsistencies right there. Right? Those inconsistencies are showing between the two, where the S&P closed one way, but the MES closed a different way. So we can differentiate these a little bit more, because black candles on a black background on two different markets doesn't really help us a whole lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this up a little bit and give it a different color. So first off, make sure that you have the S&P selected in the top, and we're going to go for the candle body outline. Now this is the S&P, our primary chart. So for the primary chart, we want these to be the main colors, right? So for the body outline, we can do black, or we can do dim gray, or just something like that, so that we know that the outline is what it is. I like a black background personally. It doesn't really bother me that it's on a black background, because it's just the outline of the candle. Then we want to go into the colors of the wicks. Again, same thing. I don't mind a black wick on there. It doesn't really bother me. But what we do want to change is the colors for the up and down bars, right? So we have a down bar. I want to make that red. And then for an up bar, I want to make that green. So now if we hit OK, you can see, well, wait a minute. The white ones are in front. But if we go into the data series, we just changed the S&P to show that, right? That will happen sometimes. So what we need to do is we need to select the white candles and hold down Shift on the keyboard and use the scroll wheel on your mouse, and you need to scroll it, right? So you can see I'm going up and down, up and down. It looks like a disco party. I'm going to scroll it to 2 of 2, because there's only 2 things on the screen. And what that's going to do is it's going to put it behind it, right? That way it's kind of hidden behind there. Then what we want to do is we want to go in, now that we know that these are hidden behind there, we're going to select the MES, and I'm going to go down into my colors again. Color for down bars, I'm going to use my 44140A. It's just a really dark red. That's the hexadecimal code for a very dark red. And then for the green, I'm going to use 073D08, which is, again, a hexadecimal code for a dark green. Now, because these are in the background, I also want to mess these a little bit differently, in that I want them to be gray and gray. So that way I can see when they protrude. See what I mean? Right there, I can see where it comes out from behind there. And it makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on. And this is a really cool way that you can stack up the S&P chart on top of the MES. So that way, if I were to use, let's say as an example, I'm only a micro trader, right? I only want to trade on the micro S&P, but I still want to derive my good candles and my good levels of support or resistance from the big market, the S&P, right? This is a great way to do it, because now any global drawing object that you draw on the S&P will also show up on the MES chart, because they're stacked on top of one another, right? That's the beauty of this. You can also see very clearly the differentiation of which one's doing what. And this is what I mean by sometimes they'll break down from one another. They generally give you the exact same information, but the closes and opens might be a little bit different. And this is a really great way to stack them on top of one another so you can still see both markets and you're still able to trade from your specific or specified market. In this case, you could go into the chart trader and choose the MES as your chart that you would trade from, but you can still draw lines on your larger anchor charts rather on the S&P, and if they're global drawing objects, they'll still show up on this chart as well. Really, really cool in the sense that it allows us to get all of our levels in one place. You don't have to have a bunch of different charts for the S&P and the MES, or the Dow and the MYM. You can stack them all together. That way it saves a lot of space in terms of screen real estate, which is a big deal for us traders. And along with that, you don't have to have all the extra garbage all over the place. You don't have this chart open so that you can see this indicator on the MES, but you don't want it on the S&P. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Really, really cool. Glad we found that out in the room. Just wanted to share it with you guys. Hopefully that found, hopefully that found a good spot in your trading repertoire. Hopefully it's something you can use, and if not, well, you got an extra piece of information you can use to your advantage later on. That's going to do it from this one. I hope you had a great New Year's. I hope you came back from the holidays all rested, relaxed, and refreshed. Welcome to 2020. Now it's time to rock and roll. I hope you had a great one, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.